Good evening. My name is Starlight Skies, and I talk about marketing and business in the game industry. Today, we are going to talk about Unity. So again, I'm not going to talk about this entire article, but I will talk about, some key points here because I want to keep this video rolling. So basically, he says, I've been in the gaming industry longer than most anybody, getting to the gray hair and all that. It used to be the case that developers would throw their game over the wall to the publicists in Salesforce with literally no interaction beforehand. That model is baked into the philosophy of a lot of art forms of medium, and it's one I am deeply respectful of. I know the dedication and care. This is a bunch of nonsense to me who, I've worked in the game industry a decade myself, okay? So I've been around for a while. I talk to developers all the time, and I don't even know what he's talking about. And also games, there's so many different aspects of games, how AAA works, how mobile works, how AA, how indie, and simulating software companies and web. Like, a lot of people use Unity and they all use it differently. And so I feel like this kind of talk is really for board members. It's really for people with money, suits, corporate. So it's just like gives me insight that I'm like, oh, it just seems like to me, assumptions, again, that he doesn't know exactly what developers actually have to go through when using his product. All right, so as this is happening with Unity, a lot of developers are questioning, like, why should we use this platform when the CEO is talking to us and calling us fucking idiots? Yeah, we're not happy about it. So there's been a lot of talk about starting other game engines, and yes, a lot of people have already done it. It's not like we're going to stop using Unity, and it's totally okay as a developer if you want to use Unity. It's perfectly fine. As us professionals, we understand it's a big task to get into another engine if you've already developed a pipeline and you already understand that. But at the same time, having more options is good for us. So I want to talk a little bit about the person who made Godot and what he has to say about the situation, his reaction. He says, until 2018, Godot was like a hobby project of mine based on a pretty outdated technology I used at previous companies I owned. All of a sudden, so many people expecting it to be comparable to big engines like Unity or Unreal, and that was a ton of pressure for me and other contributors. Like, remember, all these software programs are not fantastic in the beginning. I remember Unity when it first came out, and it was very, obviously, bare bones and buggy. Yeah, so there's never going to be a perfect software that's going to help everybody, but for what Godot is, they are really pulling themselves together and focusing, and it just feels like Juan, because Juan is a developer, they understands better the developer needs. And so I just wanted to point out, because some people were saying, well, talk about what the other engines are doing. So Unreal obviously is there. They've been gunning for Unity for a while to be more accessible. They just came out with their new version of Unreal, and so a lot of developers are going into that. So you do have options. You don't have to stick with one or another. And again, it can be a lot to do, but at the same time, it may be beneficial with the climate that's going on. And also, I always pay attention to the audience and how they're reacting to this. And basically, people have been reacting very positively to Unreal and Godot. So I'll again post this below if you want to read more, maybe even follow Juan. So now I'm going to jump into what the indie developers in the community have been saying. So not just what's my opinion and what's coming from me and my assumptions, but also what they are saying about the situation. And so I have a lot of things to go over because this is a very complicated subject matter, and it's hard to put it into a short video. But again, I just want to give you an overview, and then you can go and read this stuff yourself if you're interested. So Megan Fox, who made a great game called Skatebird. You can follow these developers if you want to. I highly recommend it. And I just want to say this too. This is not like an outsider gamer's perspective. This is like insiders in the industry who have built their entire businesses and their livelihoods around platforms like Unity. So I definitely would listen to what they have to say because their livelihood depends on it. Their careers depend on it. All right, so well, this sure is a look giving that recent press release too. Anyways, desktop console devs baking Unity into their develop process at this point are fucking idiots, going by how this is evolving anyways. Meg has a lot more to say. I can't really do anything with current or in-process games, but if it were forecasting for my next launch and still considering Unity, woof, that's a sea of red flags at this point. Kenny, oh, Unity, what the heck are you doing? Exactly. Even if you don't care about the business decisions, it's still having an impact on the community, which is an important aspect on why many people choose Unity to begin with. I don't know, this is just sad. It's sad for users, but also for the lovely folks doing genuinely good work at Unity. Noelle, by the way, Noelle helped make Celeste. Noelle says, Unity last month lays off hundreds of employees. Unity this month spends $4.4 billion in stock options to merge with a malware ad company. Yeah. I know making your own engine isn't nearly as accessible, especially for 3D, but I seriously think at least looking at open source alternatives would be really worth it. It says, lay off 4% of your workers in June, buy a company for $4 billion in July. Wait, what? Unity is merging with the company best known for its malware delivery system, so popular that it has its own entries, and VirusTotal was blacklisted on Windows by Microsoft and was used to spread fake Flash installers through the Equifax site. What? And then goes on to post more things. The reactions are just great. You know, the threads are great, basically giving more details. It's fucked up that indie dev gold rush is so unprofitable. Even the guys selling the shovels are looking for other streams of income now. And that's what's crazy, is like that it is profitable. It's extremely profitable, but they choose to like squeeze out more for themselves as much as they can while hurting their customers and not listening to us. At least that's like what it feels like to us. So I use Unity to make very traditional games. I don't care about monetization, analytics, or ads. I definitely don't care about making movies, B2B software, or construction software. Now, in principle, I don't mind if Unity wants to acquire companies in these areas, but it's important to consider the balance. So I looked into the acquisitions partners and new product announcements on Unity's press site and blog from 18 months or so. Very recent, and here's what I found. If I think the product or acquisition will help make it better, it's controller and saxophone. Saxophone is bad, controller is, you know, okay. So there's a lot of saxophones here. This is a lot of companies. This is a lot of companies. Unity is just like, isn't this what EA did? EA took a lot of companies and then didn't do well with the studios, and then the studios shut down, games got shut down, developers got fired. It just feels like history is repeating itself if you definitely Google what happened to EA. Now, I don't want to suggest that Unity has not improved or received awesome updates in this time. It's an excellent piece of software made by a team of very talented people, but doesn't seem like to be the focus of a wider company, and that's hurting its growth. For example, the recent round of layoffs. Yeah, but this is why the game devs on your Twitter feed are getting fed up with Unity. A game engine is a big investment, time spent learning it, money spent on assets, relying on a multiple-year project. Absolutely. This is like basically summarizing what we have been saying altogether. Well put. Yesterday's Unity new defo for sure wasn't aimed at game devs like us. So I decided to check on Yahoo Finance to see what investor stock market type people were saying about the acquisition. Turns out they hate it as much as we do. So goes over a lot of like what I already talked about before, but basically in the end, it's doing very poorly with stocks and investors in other areas, like not just the internal game industry, but also people who are looking in to just like invest into games, which is a lot of companies, because games, again, make more money than movies or music combined. It's an absolutely huge industry. A lot of people want to get their hands in it, and they don't like this. That's saying a lot. You know, if all of us Unity devs paying hundreds of dollars in monthly subscription fees instead of putting that into good old development fund that was 100% spent on actually improving the engine for game developers, I bet we could have a pretty sweet Unity alternative in short order. I think that's a really interesting take. I appreciated that. And there's some interesting replies. So if you, like, again, I'll link this all below if you want to read what people think about that. Tyler says, absolutely hilarious that Unity decided that finishing their in-house dog food project was too hard, and that meant they learned all they could from it instead of, you know, their game engine actually making a finishing project nightmare. So yeah, the context is that Unity's like, let's do a project with our own product. And then they couldn't finish it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just leave this here and you can read it. So Holden says something similar. Unity started an internal game project to better understand the expensive, time-consuming challenges that devs face while shipping full games with their engine, and then cancel it after realizing shipping a full game with their engine was going to be time-consuming and expensive. This is, I mean, what bigger red flag than this, right? Rami says, you'd think really all Unity needs to do is keep its goodwill in games, is to continue to improve the engine and not get involved with comically evil villain level shit, and somehow, absolutely, this is, it's so bad it's funny. Yeah. Hey, if you make games with Unity and you're worried that switching to another program will make game development difficult, I'm happy to inform you that this whole time you've been making games with a weighted training gear like Goku. Of course, the process of learning new environment isn't easy, but I promise once you get over the hump and see how much you've been limited by its completely awful, unintuitive systems, you will unlock a power level in yourself that is you've never dreamed possible. I just love the way that they worded this. This is amazing. I don't have an opinion about this. If anyone in the comment section agrees or disagrees with this, I would love to know. I just think this is hilarious. Wow, guys, this is what Unity asked me today. So after all the things, you know, we've been talking about today, this is what John's response was. Clickbait. Out of full context. Deeply sorry if what I said offended any game dev. Absolutely love the people that make games. Creative, hard work, Unity. He says it's clickbait and out of context, and then he apologizes. It just, this is horrible. This is really bad. It wasn't clickbait. Like you said this. You called us fucking idiots if we didn't monetize our games. And you say you love us, the people who make games. You don't. You don't care about us. You don't care that you're hurting us right now. So obviously a lot of people were upset. And so he decided to make a second apology. To our friends in the Unity community, I owe you this. I want to talk about what I said in an interview and follow up with my tweet. I'm going to start with an apology. My word choice was crude. I am sorry. I'm listening and will do better. What I can do, perhaps, is provide more on what I was thinking when I did the interview, what I would have said if I had taken better care. First, I have a great respect for game developers. The work they do is amazing. They create, at this point, I've lost interest. Like, I'm just like, I don't care about anything you have to say at this point with everything that is going on. We've lost our faith in you. Like, what are you going to do to actually make this better for us? And if you look at the comment section below, it's just so many devs. We're not buying this. This is not cool. We're your customers. We're using your product. What happens to other companies that disrespect their customers and take advantage? And what happens when the CEO is like really greedy and just is making decisions just to line their own pockets? We're not idiots, actually. Actually, we're not. We see what's going on. And we're going to tell you that this isn't okay. And then we are going to go to other products, other engines, if this doesn't get better. Because guess what? Like, you need us. So please respect us. So in conclusion, I genuinely hope that Unity does get better. I don't think John should be the CEO of this company. I don't think he is interested in learning a developer's perspective of like what we need from a game engine, and he's just using this as an opportunity to benefit himself. Again, that's an assumption, but from everything I've seen and shown you today, I just hope that the future of Unity is brighter. If not, then developers will move on to other software, and we will not put up with being treated like this anymore. Like, we're not tools. We're not just like money bags for you to take from. We have options. So please, Unity, please do better. This is Starlights, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. See you in the next video.